Hey everybody, my name is David Silverberg. I'm the head of the training department here at PracticePanther, and I'm here to teach you today about payments. We're going to be talking about everything and anything relating to payments, trust payments, operating payments, using credit, all the different options we have in using a retainer, whether you're paying off third parties using trust or anything else like that. To get started, we're going to go ahead to More and go right down to bank accounts to make sure that all of the available accounts we want to have set up are set up. Most people will probably have just an operating account and a trust account, and that's it. And that's great. And that's what we give you when you first start off. But if you ever need to, you can simply hit New Bank Account right up here in the top right and give it a name. It could be, if you're with a partner and you want to keep track of your own separate operating accounts, own separate trust accounts, whatever the case may be. Now, we do ask for bank account information here, but this is more just to log it on PracticePanther, but we don't actually link with your bank accounts. So you don't need to do this part if you don't want to. Now, whenever you're done with your bank account, just go down and hit Save. What's really cool is you'll be able to go to reports at any time and go to payments, and then you can go to the bank account ledger by contact or by matter. But when you go to these reports, you're going to actually get to pick what bank account you want a report for. So those bank accounts are really important. And whenever you do any payment on PracticePanther, you're going to be selecting exactly which bank account you want that payment to go into. So we are going to go ahead and go to an existing contact of mine. Let's go ahead and use Aaron Knight, one of our other trainers. And I'm going to make a new matter for Aaron Knight so we can start fresh and clean. So we're going to say that Aaron here got into we'll say got into a car accident. Hopefully not. Knock on wood. Got into a car accident. And one quick thing I'm going to mention while we're here is the evergreen retainer. So this is pretty cool. It really just makes sure that if you are handling trust money for this client, or for this matter rather, you will be able to set whatever amount you want right here to receive a warning for when your trust would drop below this amount. So for example, if we put a $500 evergreen amount and we were anticipating a $2,000 retainer, when we have used $1,500 of that $2,000 retainer, we're going to receive a big red flashing bubble inside the matter, which you're going to see in just a second when we save this, because we are going to be starting out below that number. See that evergreen alerts right here? This is what it looks like. The minute you've used enough trust to drop below that amount, it's going to let you know right there by flashing red. Now, let's say we just opened the case here. We want to go ahead and add a retainer payment because our client just signed that retainer agreement. So we're going to hit New and Payment, just like this. Now, there's really only two options here. I will go over both. There's Add a Retainer to add money to the account, and a Take Money Out button to literally take money out. You typically would only take money out if there's already existing trust in there, and you want to go ahead and refund that trust to your client, or this is how you would write a check out to some third party using that trust money directly. But I'll go over that in a second. First, we're going to add a retainer. From here, we're going to hit Add a Payment. We do have a couple of other options which are really cool. If you have gone ahead and linked up with LawPay, which is a payment processor, if you haven't researched it, definitely go ahead and do so. LawPay is actually the payment processor for lawyers. And I say that really just because they offer you a trust account. They offer you a operating account. And typically with payment processors, there's some kind of fee associated with every transaction. Now, LawPay actually knows this and also knows that you're not supposed to be touching your trust money. So anytime you have a trust transaction, any fees that would have been associated with that transaction actually get taken out of your operating account instead, because they do have lawyers in mind. Now, if we do sync up with LawPay, we'll be able to charge a card directly here if I have a card in hand or a card on file for this retainer. Or I'll even be able to request a payment. Let me show what that looks like. If we request a payment, you'd be able to go ahead and enter any amount you want to ask your client for and what method you're going to use to charge them. So we're going to use LawPay, and what bank account you would like this to route to. Now, choosing this bank account is going to change the link inside of the email that they receive so that they get just your trust account link or just your operating account link accordingly. So let's say I pick trust account, and then when I preview the request, it's going to take me to the email template. And this is pretty much what it's going to look like when the client sees it as well. So they'll click on that link to make a direct online payment to our trust account. And if they do that, the payment will first make its pit stop here in PracticePanther to mark on Aaron's matter that he has paid $2,000, and you'll see the $2,000 retainer there. And then the payment will go forward to LawPay and to your bank. Now, let's go back. Let's say we want to do it the old-fashioned way. We're going to do new payment. And this is so in case we received a check or cash or any other method where we actually already received the payment, we're going to click add a payment right here. Now right here, we're going to say, again, it was $2,000. Pick which account you want to go ahead and place this money into. This will affect your reporting later on and exactly where the money is, when you got the payment, how you got it, and any important notes like the check number can go here. Click make deposit. Now it says make deposit, but again, if we're going this way, this isn't going to be talking to your bank or anything, so there's no real money moving right there, but it does log it in this blue bubble up here on the top left. Now let's say we want to go ahead and actually use that retainer. First, we're going to collect some billable time. So let's just say I have 1 hour for appearing and attending in court. And let's just say, yeah, $100 is fine. Simple enough. Save. And now we're going to go ahead and generate an invoice for us to actually use that trust money on. Trust money and billable work don't simply counterbalance each other. When you have billable work, you're first going to make an invoice here and then use the trust money on the invoice itself. So I'm going to go down and we're going to see some payment options right down here. So if we had added the retainer into the operating account instead, it'll be available to use by using this option as a credit. Or in this case, we're going to turn this off and turn this one on for using any available trust. So there is available trust, and this is one way you can automatically use that trust money immediately upon saving this invoice. Payment reminders, I'll go over in just a bit. And we're going to go ahead and save. Now, because I do have LawPay set up, I'm also going to have a Pay Now button on the invoice itself. So my clients will be able to click on that button, and that Pay Now button will be linked directly to my operating account. When they make a payment on that button, the payment stops here first and then goes over to LawPay and to your bank, respectively. Now, I use the automatic trust payment option like you saw, and so it's already marked paid as we see up here. And if we go down, we're going to actually see the physical payment right down here and a note that it was transferred from the trust account so the client knows. Now, you're also going to have on the bottom of the invoice trust account balance or operating account balance and the corresponding ledger, so they can see the entire history right here in the invoice. And I'll show you in a bit on exactly how to get that set up as well. Now, let's say you didn't want to automatically apply the money. I'm going to go ahead and hit this little trash can that we see right here next to the payment to unapply this payment so that we have an existing balance after I refresh the page. We see we still have the $106 due. So anytime you know you have a retainer on an invoice and you have a retainer on the matter and you have an outstanding invoice like this, you can either hit actions and enter payment this way, hit enter payment here, or even inside the matter itself, when you're looking at the invoice on a list, you can hover over it and hit enter payment like this. Any way that you hit that button, it's going to bring this box up. And if you have available funds in your Matters Trust, this button will appear. This is the button you're going to want to use to go ahead and use that trust payment. Let's say you didn't have any trust. This is the button that you would use to just simply mark that you've received payment, cash or a check or otherwise, to pay off an invoice, or if you want to charge a card directly to pay off the invoice. But we're going to go ahead and use that available retainer by clicking that button right there. And you'll get to choose exactly how much credit you want to go ahead and use from the trust account and onto this invoice right here. So we're going to go ahead and hit apply credits. And if we go back, here's the list of payments. We're going to go back into the matter, back on the invoice, and it's once again paid. Now, let's say I want to go ahead and transfer some of this money, maybe into another matter for Aaron, or into the operating account to have it appear as credit instead of trust. Anytime I want to do any of those transfers, I can go to New, Payment, and hit Transfer Funds right here. When you hit Transfer Funds, again, that button only there if you have available funds. You can then go to this page to go ahead and mark the details for this transfer. So I'm transferring from the car accident matter, selecting my trust account, and I want to put it into, let's say, his other matter, into that trust account there, or I can pick the operating account instead if I want to have it appear as credit instead of trust. It's completely up to you when and how you do it, but this is how you can manage the actual money in the trust if you ever need to move it around to other accounts or to another matter. So I'm going to go ahead and just say 200 I want to move over and transfer. Now, this is the actual payment marking that transfer. And if we go to night versus night, we're going to see his additional funds here. And in the payments tab as well, we're going to see that transfer. Now, let's go ahead and jump back to our original one. Let's go back here to the matter. We're going to go back into car accident. You should also see the matter transfer payment right here. So we can see the 200 was transferred out. And let's say we want to go ahead and use that trust money for paying off a third party, like a mediator or a private investigator, and we want to use the actual trust money, not our firm's operating account, for that payment. So we're going to do New, Payment once again, and do Take Money Out. This is the button that you're going to use anytime you want to refund the trust money to your client or use that money directly to pay off some third party. This option will provide you the ability to actually write checks directly from PracticePanther as well. So let's just say it was $500 and from the trust account, and it was a check. So if you don't pick check, just so you can see, the check details is going to go away. But only when you pick check, you're going to be able to actually put in a payee and so forth. And we're going to say in the notes exactly what this payment was for, so that when it appears on the ledger, on the invoice, our clients can see exactly when and how all the money was spent. So we're going to say paid private investigator. Okay? And then you'll go down and select the payees, the person that you're paying. So who's the private investigator? I'm going to pick my man Dick Tracy. And if I want to actually physically print the check from PracticePanther, I want to make sure that this button here is marked to yes. Now, we do have a separate page that I'll take you to in a bit where it's the printing page for checks. And so any payment that's been set to print will be listed on that page. I'm going to save this payment now. So we're going to be taking $500 out of trust. We're now less $500. And we'll see that payment right here as well. Paid private investigator. Perfect. This can also be used again to refund your client. So instead of saying paid private investigator, you could say refunded to client or paid out to client, whatever works for you. Now, let's say you went ahead and you have a bunch of invoices. Maybe you did a batch invoice and you have 30 new invoices and you finalize them and they're all perfect. We don't expect that you're going to go into every single matter and look for every single invoice and look to see if you have retainer available to pay off those invoices. Instead, what we can do, I have a lot of paid ones here, but what you can do instead is mark all of your invoices or just the ones you're interested in, and you'll see a blue gear appear here on the top of your invoice list. When you click on this, you'll have a lot of options to batch edit or batch change some things here. But one of the things you can do is pay invoices right here. This is not going to allow you to make a payment on all of these invoices natively right now. But if there's any existing credit or any existing trust money, you can leave these both turned on and hit pay invoice using this credit, hit yes. And it's going to go ahead and do a quick check across all the invoices to see what can be paid off right now without having you do that checking yourself. Now you might see these errors coming up on the top right. These are because I have credit notes on this list as well, and credit notes can't be used for payments, so that's why these errors are coming up. But all the invoices that are on this list are getting paid off as much as humanly possible, and it took just about 30 seconds there. And if I needed to, there was a button to click to work in another tab if needed, but this ensures that everything that can be paid is paid, and anything that's left saved, we know we need to go ahead and seek additional funds from the client. Now we're going to go ahead and print out some checks. So anytime you want to actually print checks, hit more and scroll down to the bank accounts tab, and you'll see a couple of extra options where you can manage your bank accounts, do some reconciliation, but we're going to go ahead and hit print checks right here. Now here we can go ahead and pick what account we want to go ahead and print checks for. So if I had just done that, for example, that trust payment that we just made out to the private investigator, I'm going to hit trust account here. And here's my paid private investigator payment along with a bunch of other payments that I've made so far. And I can pick one of these or all of these and then go down and hit print. You're going to want to select your starting check number here based on what you have loading into your printer. And if you have the one-page voucher or the standard 3-page check sheets. Now, if you don't have any check sheets, or if you need to order more, or if you're not sure if the ones that you have are compatible with us, I would just go up here to order checks on the top right, and I'm opening it in another tab. You're going to see we actually work completely with the QuickBooks checks here, where you can order more if you ever need, as you need. So I'm going to go down. I've already checked off all my payments there, and I'm going to hit print. And what this is really doing right now, it's not printing anything. It's actually giving us a PDF to print. So this is the blank PDF that will be formatted for your QuickBooks checks. So before you do anything else at this point, make sure that your checks are properly loaded into your printer. Maybe do one quick print for one payment just to see how it looks. But whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and take this full payments list, right click, and hit print. And then go ahead and send that over to your printer for your checks to be printed for you. Once they have been printed, all the payments will be removed from this list, so you don't have to worry about cleaning that up. And not only that, but we can actually go ahead now and print deposit slips as well. Now, these checks are more for when you're paying third parties, when you're writing a hard cost expense and things of that nature. But we also have deposit slips for just the everyday payments that are being made. Let's say, pick our trust account here, and you can actually pick what payments or what types of payments you're seeing on this list by using this little filter icon right here to show all your cash payments, your check payments, and if you want to as well, you can include your transfers, your trust transfers as well. So these transfers are really the payments that are automatically applied on invoices, or anytime you use a retainer on an invoice, that counts as a transfer. So if you want that included on this list, just check that off. And then this is going to allow you to check off, much like the check printing, and print and give you another PDF to go ahead and print out for your deposit slips page as well. And this is just a quick idea of what it looks like. And much like the checks, as soon as you come back to the deposit slips page, it'll load and give you another page taking off all of the payments you've already printed so far. Next up, we're going to go ahead and go to our settings page. Just want to show you how to go ahead and check if your PracticePanther is synced with LawPay. Go right here to accept online payments. And one common issue we've seen is people will sign up and integrate with it, but they won't click here to make sure that the law pay accounts are actually properly picked. So you'll want to make sure you pick your merchant account and your trust account accordingly for everything to work out perfectly. Let's go ahead and hop over to our invoice options. In case you ever want to show the actual payments, like the ledger and everything, that's going to be here under the Show More Options button on your invoice settings page. And you have a lot of options to play with, but if we go way down, we're going to see a section called Account Balance right here. You can rename what it says by just typing in what you want into this text box. If you want the balance to show, that's just what's currently in the retainer for the client at that time. Or if you want the entire ledger history to show, pick that option. You have some other additional options of which payments you want to show on the invoice. If it's just the last 30 days, all times, it's the last invoice, it's up to you. Operating account. So this, if you want to show your actual operating account balance, if they have any credit non-trust retainer, you can have that show on the invoice as well, along with the ledger just the same. And finally, you can pick if you want to show the entire contacts ledger or just that one individual matter if you're invoicing by matter. As well, all the way on the top, we also have default payment options. So for all your invoices, these are the default payment options that are going to appear natively, and you can mess around with these. You can mess around with these to pick the payment options that you want. And when you're done with everything, go to the very bottom and hit save. Now there's just one more thing we're going to show off today, and that's our famous invoice payment reminders. These are amazing for any of those loose end invoices that are still outstanding after you've used all your retainer and your clients are still owing you some money and you don't want to have to waste too much time chasing that down. We'll do that part for you. So anytime you want, you can actually hit new payment reminder, and you can have as many of these set up as you'd like. And these are automated emails that are going to go out to all clients that have outstanding invoices, as long as the following. As long as you have the option actually turned on the invoice that you're going to send the reminders, which is in the default yes at the moment for me, as long as they have an outstanding balance, and as long as you have sent the invoice initially to your client. None of these reminders will go out unless you have emailed it to your client. Now, what's amazing about this is two things. One, as soon as your client finishes paying off the invoice, even if you did have 50 more reminders in place, they'll never get another reminder from you until they have another outstanding invoice. And B, they'll actually go ahead and be able to get any specific message that you set up here. Every single payment reminder can have its own message that you personalize right here. And it can be set for any number of days before or after the due date of the invoice. And again, you can have 50 of these. So you can have one going out 10 days before the due date, 5 days before the due date, 1 day before the due date, 5 days after, 30 days after, 60 days after, etc. You can be as annoying as you like and get angrier and angrier as you'd like to get as you go. So that's it. If you have any questions about the payments or anything else, go ahead and check out our articles in our Help Center. You can see that right up here by hitting the PracticePanther Help Center. When you go into there, it's going to be broken down by category. If you know what you're looking for, you can go ahead and just type it in right here. Or if you're not sure, you just want to see what we have to offer, go down here to the payments, trust accounting, and you have tons of articles and videos there at your disposal. If you ever can't find a specific answer that you're looking for, or you need additional help for anything whatsoever, go ahead and hit the bubble on the bottom right here anytime. You can reach out to our support team, and we do have a guaranteed 24-hour response time, even on the weekends. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.